Hello, welcome. My name is Santi, and this is a video series for content creators. Okay, so I want to start these videos by addressing the fact that creating content online is difficult. It takes a lot of time, it's very time consuming. There's so many questions like what program to use, what type of computer or setup to get. By the way, don't be super impressed by this setup. This is a very old computer. I need to replace it, honestly, it's not working anymore, or I need to expand it or something. I'm gonna be discussing definitely hardware, the tools that you use. This is an old TV. This is my laptop connected to this TV. It's something that still needs upgrade, but I'm really happy with it right now. So I'm gonna be addressing things such as hardware, the pieces of software that we want to use, and the way to organize all of this mess that it is to create content online, right? So this video is gonna be specifically for you if you are just getting started in content creation, right? If you are someone who still trying to make up their mind on what piece of software to use. This could also be good for you if you're currently thinking of replacing the software that you're using for something either cheaper or a better alternative overall, right? So you are gonna be definitely familiarized. You probably heard a lot of recommendations why you should purchase an Adobe Creative Cloud license. And I definitely think it's a worthy investment if you're making a living as a content creator. And by the way, the context of where I come from right now, I am a freelance video editor. I studied filmmaking in university, so I've had the training to use these tools, and I am putting it into practice by making a living out of this. So, even then, I'm still considering getting out of Adobe almost completely. I mean, I honestly have a lot of different thoughts and conflicts regarding this topic, but I want to present alternatives to Adobe, right? Especially for video editors and online content creators. And I want to outweigh the pros and cons of Adobe. And yeah, we're gonna start in this video. We're definitely gonna expand more of this. If you have any questions, I can make specific videos about your questions. But the first topic is the pricing, right? The pricing of Adobe. So how does Adobe work? Adobe is a subscription-based model, right? Which means that every month you pay a monthly subscription to keep using the software. So as of right now in 2020, Adobe Creative Cloud, if you don't have any discounts and if you are not a student, it costs $60 a month to have access to all the Creative Cloud apps, right? If you're a student, I believe right now it's $20 a month, which is not too bad if we're being honest. And if you don't have any discounts, it's around $60 a month. So, unfortunately, Adobe doesn't really give you packages. Like say you want to use only a few Adobe products, right? Only 4, maybe 5 pieces of software. Off the top of my head, like the ones that I've used most is Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, and Character Animator. You could put Audition in there, but I don't use it that much. I use another software. But there's no package for 6 or 5 pieces of software. The only package there is the photography package that, if I'm not wrong, I think it involves Photoshop, Lightroom. Lightroom is another one that I use a lot. Maybe I use up to 7 pieces of software, but there's no package for just video editing, because the essentials of video editing are actually Premiere. You could get by without Audition, you could use other alternatives, but it's really good. So let's say Premiere, Audition, and After Effects, right? Those are the 3 main most important ones, at least for basic video editing, right? So there's no package, which is really frustrating because now you have to get the whole Adobe Creative Cloud with all the apps. You might not use half of them. Yeah, it's just really frustrating, right? But I want to just say the pros and cons of Adobe, just to keep that in mind as a video editor. One of the biggest pros is that you have access to a lot of good software that is really good at what it does specifically, right? So Photoshop is great for creating images. Premiere is good for video editing in general. After Effects is good for more complex visual, graphic stuff for your videos, like fancy stuff. And so on. Like you also have Audition, which is really good for audio. And what's really good about Adobe is that you can dynamic link these programs together. So if you do some progress in After Effects where you do some visual effects and you want to link that back to Premiere, you don't necessarily have to export everything and then put it back into Premiere. You can actually just dynamic link this thing. So you just literally open what you need in the program that you needed. It's gonna link the 2 files. And if you make any modifications in After Effects, you're gonna see that in Premiere. So all of that, kind of like the environment you're working in, is really amazing. That is one of the strongest, one of the biggest advantages of actually getting immerse into the Adobe ecosystem. But one of course of the biggest disadvantages is that you have to constantly keep paying for the software to use it. You never own the software, right? You're always paying. It's such as renting, right? You're renting the software so that you can keep using it. But if you stop paying, you don't have access to it. Any files that you might have within those programs, they're locked and you cannot use them anymore. So as a video editor, as a content creator, that is a huge problem, right? Because now you're locked into that ecosystem, and the only way you can get out, the only way you can get out of it is really to find an alternative that suits all of your needs. And even then, all of the progress that you've done, any modifiable files that you might have, are going to be really hard to access. So I would say if you're just getting started with video editing and filmmaking in general, it's really good to make up your mind from the start. Like if you're gonna decide to fully immerse into Adobe, do it, but it's a long-term commitment, right? If you do want to find an alternative to it, there's no better point to do that than at the start, because once you're into Adobe and once you see how all of these apps work together, it's gonna be really hard to get out of it. If you're someone who is trying to get out of Adobe, you're probably like me, who's been used to the products for years. I've been doing video editing and content creation online for around nine years, and I've always gone back and forth between a few programs. So I'm gonna be discussing a few of these alternatives, but just for the sake of knowing where I'm coming from, because you might come from a similar place or you've heard about these pieces of software. I have been using Premiere for a really long time. It's the one maybe that I'm the most used to by now. I also edited in Final Cut Pro X. And I actually started editing in, iMovie is where I first started, like 9 years ago when I first started trying to understand video editing. But then I moved to Final Cut Pro 7, which is something that a lot of new video editors don't really even know about. Now thinking back, it's kind of like a very similar interface to Premiere. But yeah, it's quite interesting how things evolve. Now Final Cut Pro X is the new thing by Apple, and the good thing about Final Cut Pro X, if I'm not wrong, well, first thing, it only works with Apple, right? It only works with a Mac, which is a bit of a problem. Second, I do believe you can buy the license. I'm not sure. I haven't used it. I don't particularly like it that much. At least not anymore. I don't know. I have my opinions on it. I'll probably discuss it in some other video. But the good thing is that I believe you can buy the license. That is a one-time payment, and now you own the thing, right? I've also used, and this is one that I'm going to be covering quite a lot, DaVinci Resolve. Beautiful piece of software. I really want to discuss it more. And lately I've been even playing with Kdenlive, which is an open source program for Linux. This laptop is Linux. I am a Linux guy. This old computer is from 2013, which in Apple time is really, really old. It's so slow. I either need to upgrade everything inside of it or replace it. It's a great monitor. I could still use it as a second monitor. This right here is a really, a non-fancy TV. I believe it's 1080, but it doesn't reach 4K. And this is a 4K laptop. It's a Lenovo Yoga 920. Really good with 16 of RAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM. So this is my main computer, right? I've been using this, but mainly this is the connection that I'm going for lately, right? Like this thing is connected to this TV. I'm gonna definitely be discovering hardware in other videos. But yeah, right now, this is what I call the Adobe dilemma. I'm still going through it, trying to get out of Adobe, seeing if there's a way out of Adobe. And yeah, hopefully I can teach you a lot of cool stuff. If you do have any questions, they're gonna definitely shape the way I make these videos. So any questions you might have, drop them in the comments. It really helps me, know what you're liking about these videos, what is helpful for you. If you would like me to walk you through each application or which application you want me to walk you through. And yeah, so with that being said, I'm really looking forward for the next video. So do subscribe, drop me a like if you like this video, and yeah, do all the stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. So I'm gonna be seeing you quite soon. And until then, I wish you, I don't know, what is the outro? I wish you happy editing. See ya.